So yes, part of the appeal of Heated Rivalry is obvious. Shane and Ilya are beautiful, intense, complicated men. We love that. I love that. But I don't think that's the real reason the story stays with us. I think it stays with us because it gives us something that we rarely see with men. Two strong, successful men who are not just chasing victory, but longing to be known. They have so much that men are told to want. Success, discipline, status, power, admiration, a public identity that works. And still, underneath all of that, there's longing. They're longing for honesty, for deeper connection with other men, or at least one other man. And they're longing for a life that can hold the truth of who they really are. And that longing is where this new series begins. Earlier this week, I introduced this new series I'm doing, kind of revolving around what I'm calling, What If Shane and Ilya Were My Clients? I'm a therapist and coach and former college professor. I'm Dr. Dave, by the way. So I'm trying to introduce this idea around this, what if Shane and Ilya were my clients, and take you through this compass process that I've developed over my years of practice as a therapist and a coach and a college professor, stuff that's really helped me in my journey and not just coming out, but dealing with mental health issues and well-being and identity and relationships. Regardless of what it is, I've been through these different periods in my life where I've used this compass to help me figure things out. And so I'm going to present that over the next several weeks. Each letter in the compass stands for something different. I'm going to use Ilya and Shane as kind of a case study and my own life, and as also real people I've worked with. They've been gracious enough to let me record our conversations. And so I'll share those with you as well and just kind of walk you through this process. I also have a book that I've just finished. It's a field guide and sort of like a journal you can write in, but it's also full of content. And so I've made that available on my website that you can check out and just follow along if you have something going on in your life that you'd like to take a closer look at, or if you're at a transition point in your life and you really want to navigate it more carefully or thoughtfully. This is the time you can do that. This is the first week. I'm just going to introduce the idea of this process. And then each week after this, I'm going to try to give a Monday morning insight and question to kind of prime the pump for Wednesday, a more substantive video on the concept that I'm trying to lead people through, and using, again, Ilya and Shane as a case study. And the idea is, with the compass, is to give you a new framework to help you navigate life. And so maybe some of the old maps you've been using, maps around masculinity or maps around identity, around your career, around meaning and purpose. That's kind of the heart of the compass, is try to introduce you to some meaning and purpose research and what helps build meaning and purpose in life, and as well as kind of well-being research in my own experience. So those are some of the things I want to kind of share with you, but it's really to give you a new framework, a new map to help guide your next steps in life. So again, what if Ilya and Shane were my clients, and what if they had a compass to help them navigate identity, their relationship, and kind of how to plan for the future? That's the idea of this series. Because when I see Ilya and Shane, I don't just see a gay romance. That's kind of the front door into their story, is the gay romance part, which again, we all love. So what I also see in Shane and Ilya are two men who are wrestling with some of the same questions that I see all the time, the people I work with, the men I work with, both in therapy and coaching. Questions that men wrestle with, but they carry quietly. They don't really talk about them very often, so they come to therapy or coaching and kind of unload and unfold their lives with me. So these are gay men I work with, straight men that you'll see in my posts. The clients and the colleagues I've been working with through this compass process are mostly straight. So you'll see some of the straight men that I work with have the same issues that the gay men I work with. There's just some universal things going on with men that I think Ilya and Shane are so attractive in, that because they're wrestling with the same things that I see all the time. These are men like Ilya and Shane who are successful on the outside, but inside have some unresolved issues they want to kind of work through. Questions like, who am I beneath what I do? What kind of man am I allowed to become? What kind of man do I want to become? What kind of life am I really building? What kind of life do I want to build? And this is a key question. What matters beyond money and fame and status, or being admired from the outside? What's beyond that? And can I be truly known? Can I let my guard down without losing myself as a man? And these questions, the last question in particular, is personal to me. When I was younger, I looked like I was doing everything right. I was playing soccer in high school. I made the varsity soccer team as a sophomore. I made the honor roll. I was like fourth in my class of 300 most of my high school career. Homecoming court, all the right things. But on the inside, I was just a mess. And that success continued in college. I was a walk-on in the college soccer team, and started in pre-med, and I began to build a good network of friends. But still, they only saw the outward success that I was having and didn't see inside the struggle I was having around identity and purpose and meaning. I felt profoundly lost. I was really disconnected from people because I couldn't really share with them what was really going on inside me. I didn't know how to talk about who I was. I didn't know how to talk about my desire and all the things I was doing at the time. I think the success I was chasing in grades and sports and even being a good Christian man, my faith was to, in many ways, to, I don't know, maybe hide the things I was feeling, which was desire to be with another man. That's kind of the core of it. And so all that stuff was pushed underneath and in pursuit of success. And I didn't really see many examples of men having real, honest conversations. I think once I got into a faith community, I started to see that more often. People praying together, men praying together, which was initially very foreign to me. Men talking about spiritual things, which was, I think, met a need in me that I really was longing for, that more in-depth conversation about real things, but still just touched the surface. It was just the tip of the iceberg for me, the things that I really wanted to talk about. I didn't see men really having conversations around things like their attraction to other men or their feelings about being vulnerable and revealing things that are very personal. That still wasn't a common practice within my circles. And it was something I had felt growing up as a little boy, when I turned around, I think it was around 10, when I started to really understand my attraction to men. And so those feelings, at an early age went underground. And I think that created this longing to be known, longing to have deeper conversations with men, with other people. And again, I wasn't seeing that in my everyday life. So it was this vicious cycle, this feeling of being different and not being known and not being able to connect with other men, not seeing those connections happen in between men, led to more of a depression and deep questions about the meaning and purpose of life. Like I said, a lot of it started as a young gay boy. I don't think I had the words for it then. I just knew I wanted something more honest, something more real, more human. I wanted conversations with men that went deeper than performance, competition, jokes, jabs back and forth, sports, all those things that we easily present as men. I wanted to talk about what it means to be alive, what the purpose of life was, what it means to love and be loved, what it means to be man, and the desire to feel close to another man. And in some ways, I think I've spent my life trying to create some of those conversations that I missed out on growing up. Even now, as I have conversations with men, there's this echo of what I was longing for as a little boy. And so I still have that desire, I still have that drive to have these connections, these real conversations with men. And that's what's kind of fueled this compass framework, I think, in many ways. And this kind of brings me back to the Ilya and Shane case study. I don't just see two beautiful men falling in love. I see two men who are trying to find a way to stop splitting themselves in half, the public self and the private self, the successful self and the lonely self, the strong self and the tender self, the man everyone sees and the man they are afraid to let everyone else see. That's why this story matters so much to me. And that's why I created the series to imagine what it would be like to sit down with Ilya and Shane and have these compass conversations about meaning and purpose in life and how they can craft a life that is full of meaning and purpose and connection. So it's not really therapy, even though I'm a therapist, and it's not coaching, and I'm also a certified coach. It's not coaching in a pushy, goal-driven way. The Compass is a series of meaningful conversations about identity, direction, relationships, purpose, and the kind of life that you're trying to create. So this series lies somewhere in between coaching and therapy. What I'm interested in here is something a little different, a structured, meaningful, science-backed conversation about what matters, a conversation that helps a man hear himself more clearly, a conversation that helps him name where he's at, what he wants, and what he's afraid of, what he values, who he needs, and what kind of life he's trying to build. So that's where the Compass framework comes in. Compass is a framework I developed out of psychology, out of positive psychology, out of meaning research, coaching, narrative work, and my own lived experience. It is a way of helping people navigate life when the old maps no longer work. Because the map is useful when a road is clear, but sometimes the map is outdated and it no longer leads you where you need to go. So these maps could be about success, what success means, masculinity, what does masculinity look like? And in our day and age, when that's in flux for many men, that's another area where we need a new compass to help us navigate that. The faith or religious map. I know I've had to deconstruct my faith and have looked for new ways of finding spirituality. So what does that process look like for you? So a lot of areas where you might be able to use a compass to help you begin to navigate in a new direction that you might want to go. So in this series, like I've said, I'm going to use Ilya and Shane as a case study, like avatars, for walking you through this compass process. But also, like I said, the series goes beyond the fictional characters. As part of this series, I'll be sharing the conversations that I've had with real men and taking them through this compass process to give you not just the fictional character side of things, but the real life side of things and how you could walk through this for yourself. And yes, this work is rooted deeply in my story. My story as a gay man, but also as an athlete and somebody who was closeted for most of his life. I'm going to share some of my story and how I navigated my way through these issues of identity and purpose and meaning. But the invitation here is bigger than my story. It is for gay men, for straight men, bi men, questioning men, and for anybody who's watching the series. We'll start with Shane and Ilya, but the deeper invitation is for you. And so the next episode, I'll get into kind of the overview of the compass framework and get into a little bit of detail around each letter. Each letter stands for a different part of the compass framework, coaching framework. And so I'll get into some of that next time. And so if you would, check out the Compass Quest field guide, which provides you with a number of exercises. Each coordinating point has some homework for you to work through and a journal part of it and science to back it up. And my story as well, how I came to these different coordinating points. And that's what I'm trying to do with this series, to help you work through some of these questions for yourself. Let me end with this question that I've come back to this week. Where in your life are the old maps not working any longer and you might need a compass, a conversation to help you navigate what's next? What are the old maps that aren't working? And how could a compass help you navigate what's next for your life? All right, I'll see you next time and have a great rest of your week.